At 80,000 feet, your blood will boil, your lungs will collapse, and the wind won't tear you apart. It will shatter you. But one man survived a fall from that altitude and at over 3 times the speed of sound, Mach 3. His name is Bill Weaver, and this is his incredible story. Welcome to Hangar Stories. My name is Ben, and make sure to hit that like button and subscribe down below for more stories about airplanes and pilots that changed history. The SR-71 Blackbird could fly at speeds at over Mach 3.2, although the exact numbers are classified. It could easily be seen flying at or above 80,000 feet, where it lived on the very edge of space and physics. You know, to most of us, it seems like something in science fiction, or something that we would expect to see in the future. But to think that this plane was actually designed and built back in the late 1950s and early 1960s is truly astounding. The SR-71 Blackbird was the fastest air-breathing jet ever built. In fact, of the 32 that were made, none were ever shot down. They could literally outrun missiles. But sadly, 12 were lost in crashes, because when you're flying a fire-breathing Dragon, the Dragon can sometimes go down. The Blackbird's engines, massive Pratt & Whitney J58s, were engineering marvels, but they came with an unforgiving catch. They only worked at those speeds because of a delicate balance of airflow managed by inlet spikes and bypass doors. If that balance broke down, the engine could suddenly lose airflow, violently. This is called an inlet unstart. The result? Instant loss of thrust on one side of the aircraft. And because the SR-71's engines were widely spaced, losing one meant the remaining engine would twist the plane in a brutal, uncontrolled yaw. At Mach 3, that was catastrophic. And the systems designed to manage the spikes and bypass doors were primitive by today's standards. Mechanical, analog, and unreliable. The pilot didn't just fly the jet, he babysat the engines, not to mention kept an eye out for enemy missiles and enemy fighter jets. But primarily, the pilot watched the inlet pressures, temperatures, and warning lights, always ready to override the automatic systems manually to prevent disaster. Flying the SR-71 was never a relaxed cruise. It was a full-time fight to keep the plane in one piece. On January 25, 1966, Bill Weaver and Jim Zwayer were flying a test mission near New Mexico. Their SR-71 was steady at over Mach 3.2 and 78,800 feet, when suddenly, an inlet unstart on the right engine caused the aircraft to yaw violently, twisting under the force of one engine and still firing at full power. At those speeds, this wasn't just a hard turn. The aircraft began to disintegrate below their very seats. Weaver reached for the manual controls, but before he could do anything, the cockpit exploded around him. He didn't have time to eject. He was literally ejected by the plane falling apart. Thrown into the stratosphere at over 2,000 miles per hour, Weaver was unconscious for several minutes during the fall, tumbling, falling, alone. And yet, he was still alive. Why? Because of one thing, the pressure suit. It was essentially a personal escape capsule, sealing him off in a survivable bubble. Without it, the near vacuum at 78,000 feet would have boiled his blood, collapsed his lungs, and frozen him solid. A drogue parachute deployed automatically, stabilizing his spin. He fell for nearly a minute, 50 seconds before reaching breathable air. And at 15,000 feet, the seat released, the main parachute deployed, and Bill Weaver, still dazed, drifted down to Earth at 3 meters per second. He survived. But what happened to his rear seat companion and friend, reconnaissance and navigation system specialist Jim Zwayer? Before I answer that, let me tell you about the Finer Points Ground School app. Whether you're just starting your journey toward becoming a pilot or you're already certified, this app is an absolute must-have. It covers everything you need to know, from aviation fundamentals, weather theory, airspace, regulations, all in a clear, engaging format. And for current pilots, it's still incredibly useful. Use it to brush up for your biennial flight review, or just stay sharp with a solid refresher whenever you need it. What really sets it apart? It brings together all the FAA's free handbooks, like the Pilot's Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge, the Aviation Weather Handbook, and others in a one easy-to-access place. No more digging through old government PDFs or outdated links. Everything you need to know is right there. Takeoff starts with solid ground school, and the Finer Points app is one of the best ways to start. Click the affiliate link in the description below to get more information. Just do it after the video. So although Bill Weaver did survive, unfortunately his rear seat companion Jim Zwayer didn't make it out in time. No one knows for sure if he was killed in the breakup or unconscious during the descent, or if the ejection system just simply failed, but his life was lost in a tragic and catastrophic crash. When Weaver finally landed in the desert some 15 minutes later, he was very bruised, battered, and shocked, yet thankfully still alive and in decent shape. A little while later, he was rescued by a local farmer who brought him back to his base. Ironically, in just 2 weeks, Bill Weaver was once again flying in the seat of the SR-71 Blackbird. The SR-71 Blackbird remains a legend, but flying it wasn't just fast, it was fragile. Every mission pushed human and mechanical limits. Inlet unstarts, not pilot error, were the most feared aspect of flying the Blackbird. A moment's imbalance could send you spinning, and at those speeds, there was no time to think. Just survive. So the next time you look up and imagine what it's like to fly 3 times faster than the speed of sound, you're not just battling gravity, you're fighting airflow, combustion, and a plane that only stays in one piece if you fly it just right. Would you fly it? Would you trust it? Let us know what you think down below. And if you want more stories about pilots and airplanes that changed history, hit subscribe down below. The sky isn't the limit. Sometimes it's the battlefield.